Welcome to GISTUBE TV first. Let me just do that here. Subscribe to this channel. Just subscribe already. I mean, if you've been coming or you're new here, don't worry. You're in good hands, in safe hands. Subscribe to this channel. Like this video already. I promise you're going to enjoy.
Hi, welcome back to this channel, and in this video we are talking about Pastor Chris Okafor. Now, if you recall that earlier he finally addressed his whole Doris Ogala situation, and he apologized to this woman. You remember that video night on this channel, and Doris said, yes, I've accepted the apology. And people are like, no, saying you apologize to her while not accepting the things you've done is wrong. Because in his video, okay, I'll get to that. But what this video is that he has now bowed, and he has announced that he is stepping down as the lead pastor in his church. And this is what some Nigerians have been calling for ever since Doris Ogala started to call him out shortly after, almost immediately actually, after he announced his engagement to a different lady who he is now married to. So, when he married this woman, and Doris was like, oh, we were together for 7 years. I terminated several pregnancies for you. I did this one, I did that one. You promised me marriage. You will marry me now. What Pastor Chris did initially was to mock her, saying things like, oh, women who will use themselves and misuse themselves, and this one and that one will now come and say they want someone to marry them. And knowing that they are not marriage, how should I say it now, they cannot be married because of how they've let themselves go, right, while they were single. I don't even I don't know how to describe that part. But then, because Doris just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it, excuse me, Doris just kept bringing what's it called now, evidences, right, that they had a relationship and whatever, including how he still reached out to her afterwards to give her some money in dollars so that she would say, oh, she was paid by some, haters who did not like him. You say that some other pastors paid her. Just, do you understand? Just to manipulate and change the story. But Doris refused, saying she's not going to follow that narrative. And so he finally apologized to her. People were like, oh no, because the apology video he made, and when he addressed his congregation, it was like, oh, majority of the things that were said were lies. Not everything is the truth, but regardless, he did not want to come and start explaining which part is true, which part is not true. So he's just going to apologize for everything, ask that anybody has offended forgive him, ask that Doris should forgive him, and that he should move on. He even mentioned his ex-wife and all of those things, try to put the blame and something on. And then ex-wife now started granting interviews to say, no, I left the relationship, I left the marriage for a different reason. No, everything he said about me is a lie. I've just been keeping quiet because he just felt like, oh, since he's a man of God, God is going to, vindicate me and whatnot. But since he wants to mock me and use me as a way to tell his story, right, in this issue he has found himself in, I am also going to talk. So, according to speculations, PFN, that's Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, they've now, shook mouth in the matter, and they were looking at suspending Pastor Chris, right? Like maybe releasing this thing after their own investigations and all that, and not rightly just suspending him, but he decided to do a different thing and stepped down, saying that he's stepping down on God's instruction. That was during the crossover service in the new year, right? So I want to quote the things he said. He said, I will be resting. it will be time for personal retreat with God and time for me and my wife to rest. Since our wedding, we have not rested. We have not had time. We have not done our honeymoon. So we are stepping aside to pray, to have a retreat, and to rest from this January, and to return better and stronger from the presence of the Lord. I actually said that it will be gone until February, and the break does not mean it's going to be absent from church activities. That's not what is going to happen, but that it will just be away. That is what. So yes, that's it. Pastor Chris has officially, I don't even think the right word we should use should be stepped down. I don't think what we should say is that he stepped down. I should say maybe he took a break. Yeah, I think that's the right word to say. Although the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFM, has not said anything, right, officially, but according to a senior executive of the association of PFN, who is close to Pastor Chris, he said that because of the festive period, PFN had not really met to deliberate, and all of those things, and they've not convened officially on the matter. But some leaders in the body, have pressured him, so that's why he decided to step down for a month. But that he still believes that this pastor was saying that he still believes that PFN will still say something before the end of his 1 month, should I say unofficial suspension now, or stepping away from the pulpit. But that PFM might not necessarily investigate, because they are not a law enforcement agency, because there are several allegations against him, so they can't necessarily investigate or launch an investigation, but they can do spiritually pressure him and discipline him and all of those things. So that is what they can do, but they cannot they cannot officially call an investigation. But that is stepping down one of the pressures. They say, when they say spiritual pressure and discipline, one of the spiritual pressures and disciplines and things they kind of forced him to do is stepping down. So they are waiting for the government to do its own part, for the investigation and all the several allegations. That Darius Ogala even alleged that his church was not built on just Christ, that they should go, that there is something he buried in his church, alleging that there is getting his source of power is not as clean or not as tied to God as he wants us to believe. Right, so several allegations are followed in, but officially now Pastor Chris has stepped down. Of course, other leaders in the church are taking over until February, and then we will know what will happen then. Although Doris has actually calmed down with the way she calls him out since he's apologized, and she says she's accepted the apology, but of course the law has to take its full course. The associations and bodies involved also have to finish their own investigation, and for all of those things to happen before Pastor Chris can now say, oh, maybe he wants to return. But he decided to take the time off, be with his wife, have communication with her, just be. So maybe that's going to also help him on the long run. We are going to be here to give you all the updates if anything changes, or if there is any other information. Please stay tuned to this channel. Do not go anywhere. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share with family and your friends. I'm going to see you in the next one. Pastor Chris officially stepped down, like some Nigerians have asked him to, since the situation blew up. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and bye.